drink champagne. I'm totally vibing. It's true what they say. It's all about timing.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Unscripted. C Chronicles is my name. Now, if you're joining this channel for the very first time, I post vlogs as well as fragrance reviews. And if that style of content is something that you like, please do consider joining us by clicking the red subscribe button. Now, if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for the continued support. Do take note that I do have a second channel, C Chronicles Talking Sense, where on that channel, I focus mostly on Middle Eastern fragrance reviews. So if you like that, you can check that channel too and kindly subscribe. Now, welcome to today's video. I have two fragrances from Sarah Jessica Parker, but if you're a fan of Sarah Jessica Parker or you follow her fragrances, you will know that from the Stash range there is one missing here, which is Stash Privé. I actually bought Unspoken together with Privé off eBay, and Privé did not show up. And I thought to myself, well, I bought them out of the UK. Somebody had to bring them here. So by the time that one turns up, in as much as I've asked, for it to be resent, it might not turn up anytime soon. So because these fragrances are not or do not feel like a continuation of each other, I thought, okay, I'm going to bring you this versus this and then tell you my thoughts in case you were wondering about them. So we're going to start with Stash. But I'm going to alternate, okay? And I'm going to spray on each hand because this is a new video for the day. I do not have anything on my arms, right? So this is Stash, right? And then I'm going to spray Unspoken on the other hand, right? So we're going to leave Unspoken to sit there because I'm going to start with Stash. And I will be holding each one on the hand that I've sprayed. So when it comes to Stash, guys, this is one of the most complex celebrity scents on the market. You can feel that Sarah Jessica Parker did decide to push the boundaries when it came to this particular one. This may feel relatable now because there's been a lot of niche fragrances on the market, or at least a lot of artistic fragrances that have been done on the market. So it may be relatable, but if you had bought this one, let's say maybe 5 years ago, it would have pretty much came across as strange, especially if you didn't have experience with a lot of fragrances. This is a daring serving of a lot of notes that interpret to a very complex scent. It's going to give you a bit of herbal, aromatic, spicy. It's going to be piercing there. There's going to be some woods. The very first burst there is going to be black pepper hitting you with that prominence of its spiciness, right? And as you're processing, guys, that black pepper, you're going to have a camphorous wrap up of an aromatic sage. So already, if you know about fragrance notes, you will know that those two are almost like, okay, and then what? Okay, so basically that's what this fragrance is all about. And then there is a little bit of some greenness there that comes from the pistachio. Now, pistachio is a nut, right? But it is a nut, especially to me. It feels very nutty when you're chewing it and you're eating it. I love pistachios a lot. They feel very rich and you kind of feel the calories, piling up in you as you're eating pistachios there because it's a very rich nut. But if you're not chewing on pistachios or actually eating them and you just smell them like that, they smell green. So there's a slight tone, or it's going to depend on your nose. It might be a very loud tone of a greenness that you get from this fragrance, or it might be an underlying greenness there, but I feel it's coming mostly from that pistachio. And the same pistachio then blends with a cedar, almost coming across or interpreting or serving this fragrance to you as something that feels masculine. It is a fragrance that is marketed unisex, but it is when that cedar mixes with the woods and that piercing sage and a black pepper, the combo there, and that vetiver especially, then makes it feel as though, is this really feminine? If you haven't used a lot of fragrances, but I completely can do this fragrance anytime, any day. So say you blind bought it or somebody blind bought it for you and you kind of do not feel it in the beginning. It's one of those that is acquired. That is one thing I noticed about this fragrance. You will find yourself yearning, to smell like this from time to time, which is pretty odd, right? Pretty odd. So it's one of those fragrances fragrances that is, gonna draw you in, but it's definitely not blind buy safe, unless, of course, you're driven by the price. The price is safe, but the fragrance in itself is not blind buy safe. However, it's going to appeal to anybody who has a vast collection or who is open-minded when it comes to how fragrances are made. I often say this is one fragrance that could sell for a hefty price if it had been sold that way, but it just shows that Sarah Jessica Parker, they wanted to give us something that is on the affordable side but very artistic, very complex. The dry down of this is going to carry that cedar, it's going to carry the vetiver, it's still going to carry the spiciness, and that sage is going to hold up all the way to the end, but there's going to be an inclusion or an addition, something that feels like sour or even bitter grapefruit. And it's not something that feels like actually, I must say, grapefruit adds to this complex mix. This gives me all year round type of vibes, but if you're new to it and you're kind of tiptoeing on this one, then it would be a fragrance that maybe you want to wear in cooler weather, because fragrances sometimes do not push it to the limit when the weather is kind of cold. There, cooler weather, cold weather, that type of situation, it will not choke you out. In itself, it's not a heavy DNA, but it can just slightly come across as bothersome, especially if you are not used to how experimental the perfume industry has become in the use of some of those complex ingredients or ingredients that can come across as strange, especially if you're used to mainstream fragrances. It gives off masculine vibes, but I do get a unisex toned fragrance, especially if you look at the artistry in perfumery. This is a fragrance that both genders can wear. However, why I'm emphasizing on that masculine thing is, say you wanted to gift it to a man, it's probably easy on the nose of a man that it would be on the nose of a woman. So yeah, guys, that is what I can say about Sarah Jessica Parker's Stash, a fragrance that stretches it when it comes to performance, especially in the heat there. This one can do about 7-8 hours. It can stretch if you oversprayed. There was a time people were saying this has been discontinued, but it's still there. You can pick it up and it's still priced right. And now that mine has set a little, especially this second bottle, I am actually getting now a little bit of a bitter nuttiness is pretty prominent there in the dry down. Bitter nuttiness, sourness of the grapefruit. So yeah, very nice complex scent there that's going to have you discovering a lot of pages. So that is what I can say, guys, about Stash. Now moving on to Unspoken, guys, this does not feel like a continuation of this. So they look the same, the bottles are the same, the labels are in different colors, but it doesn't feel like a continuation of this. Unspoken, to my nose, is less complicated, more crowd pleasing, very sweet there, very relatable, even leaning celebrity scent like, what to expect from a celebrity scent. This is a mix of sweet, woody, spicy at the same time. There is wafts of a freshness there, something that's going to interpret as like an apple fresh feel or like a fruity feel there, but I think it's bouncing off quince because there is no inclusion of an apple in this fragrance. And then there is something there that's going to feel like a tone that you get from nostalgic fragrances, like old fragrances. There's just a little bit of that, but it is that sweetness that is non-relenting that I find can be bothersome. It does have a woody feel to it as well, a spicy feel to it as well, but it's very forward there when it comes to the sweetness. Now in the base of this fragrance, there is the mention of sandalwood, and I feel there is a floral in this Unspoken that is kind of maybe weaving with the sandalwood and giving it like a tropical thingy, like a coconut feel. It doesn't list coconut as a note, but there is something in here that bounces off and feels as though this could align, or this could fall under the category of tropical fragrances, with wafts of like a creamy, but not very distinct, but creamy underlying coconut feel. So I think maybe it's just something that's bouncing off, that sandalwood, or coming off the sandalwood, mixing with maybe the quince there, or mixing with the honeysuckle, but creating something that feels like a coconut note there. If there is a coconut note, I do not know, but there is to the nose something that's going to feel a little bit coconutty there. Now, if you're looking at a safer option, this is going to be a safer option to buy. If you are one person that loves fragrances that are less complicated, then this is going to be a recommendation, because I find this one more crowd pleasing, less complicated, more relatable, something expected, nothing shocking at all, as opposed to this one. And it's automatically going to be a safe blind buy because, you know, the DNA is one that is not complex by any means, shape or form. The lasting power, you know, for this, because of that heavy sweetness, kind of stretches it as well. So I find that this, you know, for the amount you pay is decent in terms of performance. I've seen celebrity scents that fall flat in terms of performance. This one stretches it a little bit, guys. Spraying it on my skin, even as I was testing it before I brought it here, it is that sweetness that is non-relenting and kind of goes on and on and on, and you can smell it even crossing into 4, 5 hours, 6 hours on the skin. That sweet weight is something that you're going to carry. It's a fragrance that I can say, because of the sweetness, is going to align mostly with what females are going to like this, so it kind of gives me like a feminine vibe, as opposed to this one, guys. You know, crowd pleasing in terms of all ages as well. This any female is bound to like. The unfortunate thing is, if you start off with this one, it might underwhelm you because this comes across as a polite fragrance that's saying, please like me, whereas this one is just either you like me or you don't, and I really don't care. So yeah, that is what I can say about the two fragrances, guys. Because I love fragrances, I will say I recommend a stash, but I'm going to caution you at the same time that it's not an easy fragrance on the nose, especially if your nose is not or has not adopted to a lot of different scents on the market. You may find this one pretty strange. If you want a safer option, you can buy this with your eyes closed. Whether or not it's going to wow you is entirely up to you. I think she had to come up with something maybe pretty quickly that was more relatable because of some slagging that this one was getting. I remember when this one was released, a lot of people were like, oh my god, what is this, you know, the original stash. So maybe she had to throw in something in the mix there that is more relatable. So this is not going to blow your mind if you're used to complex scents, but if you love very polite, crowd pleasing scents, then this is going to be ideal for you guys. Chronicles is my name. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's meet in the comment section where we'll discuss more about fragrances. Once my privé shows up, I'm just going to bring it in a separate video, maybe with Lovely or something like that, but it's not going to make it with these because I've already posted this one, guys. So once that privé shows up, I will definitely bring it here. Remember to turn on post notifications on both my channels. That way you get to be notified anytime I upload a video. Meanwhile, like and share this one, guys. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.